done every year. Now, when we're doing this study, when we are collecting our data, we said there's about 4 different ways we can collect data. When we're doing some sort of a study or a statistical experiment, there's some things that we need to worry about, okay? And I've written a couple of elements here: control, randomization, replication. What do I mean by control if I'm doing a study? If we were going to do a study for McDonald's, what would I mean by control? Well,
just like a normal time,
so I want to control the data I collect so that I am measuring the effect of the variable of interest. So if I'm collecting data on waiting times, I would like to make sure that all the data that I'm collecting, okay, is not being influenced unduly by other things. I'd like to make sure that I somehow have control over that I have, trained people serving the phone, that the fact that I have a reasonable representation that says, okay, I don't go in and select the best store in every town and take the data from them, the one that's the best trained, the most experienced, okay? I'm biasing it that way, okay? I want to make sure that I actually am trying to isolate the variable that I'm interested in. Now, when we're trying to look at an experiment or a statistical study, we try to make sure that when I collect data, that I am collecting data that is giving me a view of the variable I'm interested in. There's a term called a confounding variable. Confounding variable would be something that I can't tell the difference between my variable, which maybe if I'm collecting data in the north part of the country and I have a blizzard on hand, maybe things slow down a lot. Maybe there can't be as fast because cars are not moving as fast. Nobody's moving as fast. I don't know. But the confounding variable may be the reason that I have slow times or I have fast times. Here's an example. A coffee shop owner remodels her shop at the same time a nearby mall has a grand opening. Business at the coffee shop increases. And she thinks it's because of the remodeling. Maybe it's because a lot more people come to that area to go to the mall. It has nothing to do with the remodeling. So we want to make sure when we think about how to collect data that we are doing our best job to isolate what we're interested in our case, the waiting time. I'm going to skip through these slides because in the textbook, if we happen to use this type of data collection and experiment, we might split the class up. You get medicine, you don't get medicine, and we compare later. Now there's some special things that we need to worry about if we do an experiment, not an observational study, an experiment. That's because somehow I am, intruding on what's going on. It's not natural. Give you medicine, don't give you medicine. And all sorts of weird things happen because if people know that they're in the medicine group, they think, boy, I got better, I feel better, whether it's working or not. Okay? People that don't get medicine, know they don't get medicine, they maybe feel worse. It has nothing to do with the medicine. And so there's some things that we worry about when we're actually trying to put ourselves into and control an experiment. And there's some words. Anybody know what a placebo is? Placebo is, if I give you guys real medicine, I give all these people a pill that looks exactly like you, think they're getting the medicine. Nobody knows who's getting the medicine, who's not getting the medicine. I know, as a researcher, but a placebo, okay, you in your group, okay, are going to get something which will be called placebo. You may actually think you're getting medicine and feel better. You have to worry about it. This idea of blinding is like doubt. I would select people, but you wouldn't know what group you're in. I wouldn't actually get us all in a room and say, okay, all you folks here are going to get the medicine. All of you people are just going to get some pill that's worthless, okay, and good luck with your condition. Blinding means that we randomly assign you to the group, and then you don't know which group you're in. So some of those terms you want to read about are very simple to understand them, and they all apply to if we're doing an experiment. Let me talk about the idea of replication now. Control, randomization, replication. If I do some sort of an experiment, if I do some sort of a study, if I do some sort of a survey, I have to be able to replicate the experience. I apologize for my language in advance, but let's say we're going to collect data by doing a survey. And let's say it's going to be a phone survey. And the question is, how do you think, what's your opinion of the president? And you've probably seen these questions like before. The president's approval rating is 43%, 53%, whatever it is, right? And typically, when that's done, people make a phone call. They call people, they basically talk to them, and they say, do you think the president's doing a good job? Yes or no? And then you figure out the percentage who said yes, and that's the approval rating. That makes sense, everybody? We call 100 people, 43 say yes, 57 say no. His approval rating is 43%, right? 43 out of 100. What can go wrong with this simple scenario? Kyle?
You took a sample group of 100 out of 314 million people.
Well, the sample is small. You're absolutely right, okay? So you're absolutely, no guarantee, and we'd like to make it as representative as possible, so we'd like to get old people, new people, Republicans, Democrats, okay, rich people, poor people. We do the best job we can, and we have it all tidied up, and we're going to call people and make sure that we have a nice cross-section. So I hire Andrew and Catherine to make my phone calls, because I don't want to do it. That's like, peon labor, okay? I don't want to do that, okay? So I hire some people. I give them, $5.25 an hour, okay, to make these phone calls. And Catherine and Andrew, for me, they get a script and says, hello, my name is Catherine. I'm working for the market research company out of Chicago, Illinois, and we'd just like to take 2 minutes of your time tonight. We're going to do a short survey about, some questions of national importance. Do you have a moment? They say yes, and Catherine launches into, well, I'd like to ask you the following question. Well, it turns out Catherine is great. She is very, very smooth, and she's very polite, and she's very engaging on the phone. Andrew's an asshole. Andrew's getting paid, okay, like just to be there, making $5.25 an hour. He don't really care, okay, what this person on the other end of the line thinks, what kind of attitude that person has. So Catherine, plods along and faithfully gets, some good responses. Andrew is just mad the whole time. He's mad at making $5.25 an hour, and says, hi, my name's Andrew. I got one question to ask you, all right? You like the president or you don't like the question? You like the president or you don't like the president? So he might distort my question, and the approach and the attitude are very different than Catherine's. And so when I say replication, maybe the experience is different. So the data, the response might be different. You've got to make sure that you kind of repeat the experience over and over again. Does that make sense, everybody? And under no offense intended, okay, just an example. So the same experience, the same process has to be repeated over and over and over again if I want good data. Okay, enough said for almost an hour. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll come back. Hopefully the sound will work, but I'd like to talk about sampling techniques, okay, different ways to collect the samples. Anybody got any questions for me? See me? Anybody need anything? See me? And then we'll get back, let's introduce you and say a few words.